All right, we're dividing fractions. And so just like last year, all right, we're going to keep the first fraction the same, just copy it down. We're going to change the sign. Okay, it starts as division, and you're going to change it to multiplication. And then you're going to flip the second fraction. So keep, change, flip. I think last year she said Kentucky chicken fry, to remember it. So whole numbers as fractions, just a reminder, if you need a whole number written as a fraction, you just put it over 1. It still equals 5. So a fraction divided by a whole number. So this could mean that you have some lumber, that you have a piece of board that is 5-6 foot long, and you're trying to divide it into 3 equal pieces. And this answer would be how much each piece measures. So we're going to keep the first one exactly the same, copy it down. We're going to change the division sign to a multiplication sign. And we're going to put this whole number over 1 so that when we flip it, 3 over 1, its reciprocal is 1/3. When we flip it, it's 1/3. So now we have 5/6 times 1/3. So we're going to do 5/6 times 1/3. Now, when you change it to multiplication, you are still completing this problem. You're still getting this answer. But mathematicians have figured out that if you multiply by the reciprocal, if you change this to multiplication, you flip it, you get the same answer. So we can't cross cancel. So we're going to do tops times tops, bottoms times bottoms. So each piece of wood in our scenario would be 5/18 foot long. So let's look at this one. Again, whole number, we're going to put it over 1 whole. So if I were to make up a word problem with this one, I could say I have 16 whole pizzas, and I'm going to give each person 2/3 of a pizza. And this would be how many people I can serve. How many groups of 2/3 are in this 16? So we're going to keep the first fraction exactly like it is, just copy it down. Change your division to multiplication. Now I'm going to put a dot because multiplication, you can also write it as a dot, and it means the same thing as the X multiplication sign. And then I'm going to flip, I'm going to find the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2. So now I have 16 times 3/2. So 16 times 3/2. So if I try to cross cancel, I'm going to simplify before I multiply. So 2 and 16 share the factor of 2. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And so now these cannot be simplified. 8 times 3, tops times tops, bottoms times bottoms. 24 divided by 1 is just 24. So in the scenario with the pizza, I had 16 pizzas, whole pizzas, and each person got 2/3 of a pizza. So I would be able to serve 24 people doing it that way. So here we have 5/9 divided by 3/7. So an example of a word problem would be, again with the board, I have 5/9 of a foot of lumber, okay, of a board, and I want to cut it into 3/7 foot size pieces. So I want to know how many 3/7 would fit into 5/9. So we're going to keep, change, go down more, flip. So now we have 5/9 times 7/3. I can't cross cancel here. I can't cross cancel here. So I'm going to say tops times tops. 5 times 7 is 35. 9 times 3 is 27. Since it's improper, I'm going to go ahead and divide to get a mixed number. 27 goes into 35 one time. And I have 8 left over. So 1 and 8/27. So I'm not even getting 2 boards out of that I cut in that scenario. So let's look at the reciprocal. What a reciprocal is, all right, is when you take a fraction and you flip it. So we have 1/5. The reciprocal, or the flip of 1/5, is 5/1. And the reciprocal of 3/2, flip it, is 2/3. So when you take 3/2 and you multiply it by 2/3, and you get the product. Okay, tops times tops and bottoms times bottoms. The product, 6 divided by 6, is 1. So that's the actual definition of a reciprocal, is that when you multiply the reciprocals, the product is 1. Now, remember, the reciprocals are not opposites of each other. Okay, they're the flipped version of each other. So let's look on the back. Number 1. Audrey has 12 yards of decorative fence border to put around her garden. She uses all the border to make 4 sections that are the same length. Which expression does not represent one of the sections? So this right here is the total amount of yards that I have for the fence. And I want to divide it or make it into 4 sections. Okay, so your total always goes first in the dividend spot in a division problem. And you're going to divide it into 4 sections. So your total always goes here, okay, and your groups can go here. So 12 divided by 4 can also be written like this, 12 divided by 4, or 12 divided by 4. So an expression is a number sentence that does not have an equal sign. So they're asking which one of these does not represent one of the sections. Well, one of the sections would be 3, and all of these equal 3. So we're going to circle this one. That's the only expression that does not equal 3 and doesn't answer the question. All right, number 2, circle the equivalent. Okay, change this to expression. Circle the equivalent expression to this expression. All right, so we have 5/6 divided by 2/3. So we're going to keep, change, flip. We're going to keep this one the same. We're going to change this to multiplication, and we're going to flip or find the reciprocal of this one. Now, the only answer choice that matches what I just wrote down, because this is an equivalent way to write this, to work this division problem, is B. Okay. Number 3, go ahead and mark out D. Now, a cabinet maker wants to cut a board that is 7/8 feet long into pieces that are 5/6 feet long. So I always ask myself, if I'm cutting pieces, I'm thinking it's division, okay? And this is my total that I start with. So I have to make sure that that is first in my division problem. And then I'm cutting it into this size pieces. So I'm asking myself, how many 5/16 will fit in 7/8? So I'm going to keep, change, flip, because I want to choose another way to write this expression that would also work for my calculation. So I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to change the sign, and I'm going to flip or find the reciprocal of the second one. And now this one matches B.